Because of the federal sequester funding, 100% of the funding for the federal tuition assistance program in the military has been cut in 4 out of the 5 branches. So the Marine Corps, the Army, the Air Force, and the Coast Guard have 100% eliminated the funding. I want to distinguish this program from the GI Bill and also our state Veterans Tuition Assistance Program. This is a different program. The GI Bill, it can be used on active duty, but it rarely is because number one, it's transferable, and once you start using the GI Bill, there's a time limit. You have to complete your studies, and most of the military personnel who take advantage of the tuition assistance program, they're only taking 1 credit at a time. So you wouldn't want to use your GI Bill time when you're only taking 1 course at a time, I should say. You want to do that when you're going full-time because it's better, it's a better bang for your buck. And our state programs are for veterans. You have to be honorably discharged, so that wouldn't apply to active military personnel. So because of the sequester cuts, in New York State, there are 35,000 active and active reserve military personnel. Based on the national trend, about 20 to 25% of active duty and active reservists use this program. So of the 35,000 in New York, we think 9,000 use this program. Now we've reached out to SUNY and we've reached out to CUNY, and CUNY says there's about 550 students in the program. And SUNY doesn't have hard numbers, but 9,000 is the total population, and a certain percentage of that would go to SUNY and would go to private schools. So that's the situation. What we propose in the Commitment to Military Education Act is to restore the funding that was cut. So under this program, active duty personnel were given $250 per credit hour to a maximum of $4,500. So for example, SUNY tuition full-time is $5,500. So that student would be 85% short on his tuition. So what we're proposing is not for the SUNY and CUNY to fund the tuition, but to drop the tuition by the amount lost. The average student uses $1,800 a year in federal tuition assistance, so we're asking SUNY to lower the tuition by that amount. Now, if students have to withdraw from school, SUNY is losing all the funding. Obviously, the costs are important. The costs are minimal because SUNY has SUNY and CUNY have 1 million students, and we're not asking to hire more professors, build more buildings, hire more staff. It's a marginal cost as opposed to a fixed cost. So the exact amount is well below the $1,800 that students get in tuition assistance in terms of the cost to SUNY, because we're all very budget conscious here. Now, one thing I'm very excited about is we have bipartisan support for this bill. In the Assembly, there are more than 40 co-sponsors, of which I think 10 are Democrats, and we're expecting that to grow. The sponsor in the Senate is Senator Ball, who couldn't be here today, but he has bipartisan support from a number of senators, including Senator Carlucci. Senator Sanders from Queens is here, and we think that this is something that can have New York lead the way on something important. We have an obligation to our troops to fulfill the promise we made to them as a country when they signed the dotted line and joined the military. And at least in New York State, we're going to fulfill that obligation. I've been in touch with Student Veterans of America. They're very excited about this proposal, and they're getting other states to follow it. Since we started pushing this, some private schools have said, you know what, we're going to honor this concept and lower tuition accordingly. So things are moving in the right direction. If any of my colleagues would like to speak before we take questions.
Sure, just a minute.
Assemblyman Blankenbush.